Okay, so in part 1C, we look at index notation. Index notation is important because it provides a clear way and systematic way to represent repeated multiplication. Okay, so how do we do this? So let's say we have 5 times 5 equals to 25. 5 times 5 can also be represented as 5 squared, which is also known as 5 to the power of 2. So if we have 5 times 5 times 5, we have 5 cubed, or 5 to the power of 3. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, 4 times, will give us 5 to the power of 4, which is 625. Okay, and it goes on and on. But here we just want to add some vocabulary. 5 to the power of 4. 4 can also be known as the index. Okay, it's just another name for power. And 5 will be known as the base. So we are expressing in terms of index. That's why it's called a index notation. And what exactly are notations? Notations is an important part, a big idea of mathematics. They refer to symbols and conventions of writing used to represent mathematics objects. Mathematical objects. Okay, and why is it so important is because it helps us to mathematical objects, their operations and their relationships. Okay, so why are they important is because they help us present our our mathematical notes in a concise and precise manner. Okay, and the opposite to power will be something we call the root, which is another notation. Okay, so the square root symbol represents the reverse operation. So we have 5 squared, which will give us 25, and then we have square root, which will give us the opposite from 25 to 5. Okay, and here square root of 25 equals to 5 is the same as doing this. So square root of 25 is square root of 5 squared, which is then 5 to the power of 2 divided by 2, which will give us 5 to the power of 1, which will give us 5. Okay, so when we do a square root, it's as if we divided the power by 2. So cube root would be dividing the power by 3. So 125 is actually 5 to the power of 3 cube root. So this will give us 5 to the power of 3 divided by 3, which is 5 to the power of 1, which is 5 again. Now, just in case, What if we have 5 to the power of 3 square root? Okay, that means that it is not cube root. So this is actually just 5 to the power of 3 divided by 2, which will give us 5 to the power of 1.5. Okay, so it is impossible to calculate that mentally. Not that I know of any methods, but if you do see this, you can simply key into your calculator and you'll get the answer. Okay. And so an example of index notation, 6 times 6 times 6 times 8 times 8 is simply 6 cubed, because there are 3 6, and 8 squared because 2 8s. And that is concept 1C, index notation.